Hey, what's up everybody, how's it going? It's Bert, aka Dansg08 here, and I wanted to make a hangout to kind of let you guys know that the summer break is over for me and normal service will be resuming in terms of like commentary and recording and all that kind of stuff. So you will have noticed that over the summer I continued to upload, but the frequency was a lot lower, and as I mentioned back in like late June or July or whenever it was, I didn't do any recording, so I took a break from YouTube, and that's something that I always need. It helps me to clear my head. I tend to get fatigued like for months on end when I'm doing commentary, and especially because the games I play are quite long, you know, they do take up a lot of time, so I can't get projects done as quickly as other YouTubers. So, you know, when a game takes like 3 or 4 months to complete, it does wear you out by the end of it. And obviously, as you guys know, I work like a full-time kind of other career, so still trying to juggle everything at once can get a bit tiring. So the summer was good. It started off very hectic, very crazy, very stressful, a bit scary. You guys know all about that stuff. I mentioned it a lot on Twitter and in the previous hangout that I did, but thankfully, at least on the western side of Turkey, in the major cities in the west, things are a lot calmer than they were a couple of months ago. But unfortunately for the people out in the east, you know, things are pretty crazy out there. It's really, you know, I really feel for those people out there. They're having a horrible time, and you know, we are the lucky ones that we don't have to see that kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis. But if that kind of stuff does come over a bit more to the west and things start to get dangerous on the streets, and you know, I'm not going to tolerate that kind of stuff. I will come back to the UK. I'm not a fool. I'm not going to, you know, put myself at risk, you know, of something bad happening. So at the moment, Istanbul is fine. You know, you go out on the streets, you wouldn't realize that anything was going on within the same country. So it's a bit of a weird nation like that. It's very much divided between the east and the west in terms of day-to-day life. So yeah, summer was good. You know, my family were here for most of the summer. They had a longer summer break than they usually do, and during the crazy times, the stressful times that's going on here, it was nice to have them around. So yeah, all in all, ended up being a pretty good summer. But it's pretty much over for me, even though it's still extremely hot around here. I always consider September to be like the start of my year. I'm still stuck in like high school mode, where September would be like the start of a new term. So I think that still lingers on in me. I'm not that old yet. So yeah, now that I've returned, the first thing that was a bit of a surprise to me was that Final Fantasy 15 was delayed. Now you're going to say, oh, it was a surprise, but because, you know, Final Fantasy 15 has been delayed about 400 times over the last 10 years, but I really thought the September the 30th or whatever that was going to be the true final release date, and it wasn't until like August that we realized that there was going to be a delay. So in a way that actually is quite good for me, because I was kind of thinking end of September, I still have a lot to play from Final Fantasy IX. I really didn't want the two series to clash, because in an ideal world I would have wanted Final Fantasy IX to be finished, everything done and dusted, clean slate, and then get going with Final Fantasy 15, so I can just give all of my effort to that. And well, now that it's been delayed to the end of November, that I think I can do that now. I should definitely be able to finish Final Fantasy IX before the end of November. So in a way, that's worked out well for me. It's brought me a little bit more time to finish up what I'm doing. And then hopefully when it comes out, I'm going to be just attacking that game just from all sides, because there hasn't been a new, like, decent Final Fantasy release for a long time. I mean, I did Lightning Returns, and that was like 2014, I think. So the channel is long overdue some fresh Final Fantasy content. So I'm going to be doing everything I can. I'm already working with my machinima like manager type person to do everything I can to get the game early. You know, showing my Final Fantasy X walkthrough as an example. You know, that thing is really, really popular. It's got great reviews and all that kind of stuff. Just doing everything I can to convince the developers to give me an early copy, so I can really try and, you know, get this game out there to you guys. So yeah, Final Fantasy 15, I'm still extremely pumped for it, but it's just going to have to wait for another 2.5 months before we really get going with that. So yeah, that means that in the meantime, while we wait for that, Final Fantasy IX is going to resume full tempo. I want to get that done as quickly as possible. Alongside that, I think The Last Guardian comes out end of October, and even though I haven't actually played Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, they're two games that I know for a fact are great games. When I say a fact, obviously I haven't played it, but based on everything I know about myself and everything I've read about those games, I should love those games. But for some reason, it's just never happened. I've just not had a chance to play it. And most recently, I've realized that there's no PS4 version for it, which was a bit annoying for me. So I'm thinking, I mean, I don't have a PS3. like pretty much the only way for me is to emulate it on PC, and you guys all know what that means. So I'm thinking maybe I might have to bite the bullet and do that, because I'm sure eventually they'll release a remaster for the PS4, but if I do want to play it before The Last Guardian, play those two games before The Last Guardian, it's going to have to be on PC, and it's going to have to be emulated. So depending on how things go, depending on how much of my time Final Fantasy IX is taking, I might try to squeeze at least Shadow of the Colossus in there, because that one is one that I feel like would be a little bit more suited to me than Eco. So yeah, in terms of other content, that is something that could be coming up. So The Last Guardian is definitely something I'm interested in. So if you're hyped for that game, then that's going to be something you'll probably see on the channel. Outside of that, I've mentioned Rise of the Tomb Raider multiple times before. I still don't have a new graphics card yet. I'm kind of just waiting it out, just trying to see if those GTX 1070 prices are going to drop. They're slowly coming down, but not as much as I would like. It's still very expensive, so just waiting for it. And I've got Final Fantasy IX running anyway, so it's not an emergency. I mean, not many people are going to watch that. I reckon like 200-300 people are probably going to be watching that regularly, so it's not a big deal. But it's a game that I do want to play, you know, for me. As you guys know, I always just play wherever I want to play. I don't care too much about how many people watch it. So that's going to be something that will be on the channel eventually as well. In other announcements, I've decided to try and stream a little bit more. That's something that I dabbled with a little bit when I got back into Final Fantasy X-2. I did a few little test streams using the PS4 and that kind of thing. And one of the main things I liked about streaming was the fact that I could get more kind of instantaneous feedback and really have like a back and forth with the people who are watching, because while I try to respond to everything on YouTube, you guys will know, especially frequent followers of the channel, I try to chat to everyone, be it on YouTube, be it on Twitter, be it on Facebook, but it's not really the same as just having a live stream and having people write stuff in the chat and you being able to respond to them live. So I quite like that idea, and I wanted to kind of diversify my kind of outlets a little bit more. So what am I doing on Twitch? Well, you guys are going to be very surprised to hear this, but when the PC Steam version of Final Fantasy X came out, the remaster, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, look, I've had enough of Final Fantasy X remasters popping up everywhere. I've brought like 27,000 copies of this game over the years, let's just leave it. And well, that managed to, you know, last for about 3 months. And like last week, I was just like, man, I kind of miss this game, I want to play it again. So I did what was typical of Dansg08, and I decided to buy the Steam version as well. So I now have the Steam version. I wanted to check it out, just see, you know, it's got like turbo mode and a few extra little things. I just wanted to see what they look like, and it was going to be a way for me to play as well. And I thought, well, considering the fact that I've got it on Steam, I can kind of stream it as well. So what I decided to do, I will be playing little bits and pieces of Final Fantasy X over the coming weeks and coming months. But I didn't want that to be on YouTube, because I'm tired of putting Final Fantasy X videos on YouTube, and honestly, it's just not fair to the people that don't like Final Fantasy, because believe it or not, there are subscribers to this channel that don't like Final Fantasy. So, I mean, think about this, 80,000 subscribers, and Final Fantasy IX is getting about 1,000 views. So, there's plenty of people out there that want to see other stuff as well. So, don't want to bombard any more Final Fantasy X. So, I decided to make that a Twitch-only thing. And how that's going to work is that maybe like, I don't know, a couple of nights a week, maybe more, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll do like an hour or two where I'll just stream Final Fantasy X, the Steam HD remaster version. And I'll be doing a no sphere grid run as well, to give something a little bit fresh to people that have already seen me do the normal walkthrough. So yeah, it's just going to be me just chilling, playing Final Fantasy X no sphere grid. If you guys want to find out when I'm starting that, I've been thinking like starting it sometime next week. So to know when I'm starting it, you'd have to probably follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch as well. I'll probably announce it like in advance, because I don't want to say right now I'm starting on like Thursday next week at midnight, because there's a chance, because of my lifestyle and because of the nature of the work I do, there's a chance that could flop, and then I'll have to do a whole other new announcement. So if you guys are interested in watching that stuff on Twitch, and you want to see me do stuff on Twitch more regularly, then you're gonna have to follow me on Twitch. That is the best way to do it. So either follow me on Twitter or Twitch, and you can keep up to date with the new streaming stuff that I'll do. Other than Final Fantasy X in the future, No Man's Sky is a game that still, despite all the hate and despite all the lies and all the deceit, is still a game I want to play, but I'm just waiting for the price to come down, because no way am I paying full price for that, but that seems like a very Twitch friendly game, because walkthrough wise, I think other than maybe the first episode, it's going to get a little bit boring. But on Twitch, you know, with the interaction from you guys and, you know, all that kind of stuff, it seems like it's something that would suit the platform a little bit more. So No Man's Sky would be something I'd be interested in doing there. Maybe just games that I kind of want to play, but I know for a fact just will get absolutely zero attention on YouTube. So Tomb Raider is something that's different because, you know, I've already got one Tomb Raider game on there. I want to have, you know, both of the modern Tomb Raider games on there as much as possible, or the reboots or whatever you call them. But for example, a game like GTA 5 is a game that I've never played, and I've played most of the other GTAs, and I've always been a fan of GTA games, but I know there's going to be a very long playthrough, and it's going to get very little attention. It's going to take a lot of my time. So one of the other advantages of the whole streaming thing is I don't have to edit episodes. It's much more kind of just natural, just, you know, with all of the mistakes and, you know, me like having to take breaks and all this kind of stuff, that normally requires editing, like coughing, sneezing, whatever. But with streaming, it's much more kind of just natural. All I have to do is just sit down for an hour or two and just play the game. But otherwise, I have to play the game, I have to edit the game, I have to render the game, and I have to upload the game. So, you know, my workflow is a lot longer for the YouTube episodes. So for a game like GTA 5, it won't actually eat up as much of my time if I stream it, as opposed to trying to create YouTube playlists for it. So you get the idea. I will now try to stream a little bit more, and if you want to see a little bit more of a natural Dansg08 and you want to interact a little bit more real time, then that's something you guys should check out, and there'll be links in the description for that. So finally, I want to talk about something that I've been doing that's more of a personal project. This is something that I shared with my patrons on Patreon a few weeks back, because that's something that I tried to do for them. I tried to keep them more in the loop about what I'm doing with my personal life and that kind of stuff, and that's just like one of the small perks I try to give people that are supporting the channel. But I want to tell you guys as well, because you guys are all gamers. If you're fans of the channel, you're obviously gamers, and I'm doing a project related to gaming. So over the summer, work has been pretty atrocious. So in like March, April, things were going very well. I shot 2 things. One of them was a TV commercial. I shot my first TV commercial. I was kind of, you know, on the upward step, but then kind of work just died out. So I haven't been able to build upon that. And I thought to myself, well, if there's nothing coming in from work, I need to try and create my own projects, because there's no point sitting around wasting time. So I sat down and I thought to myself, you know, I prefer documentary filmmaking to TV commercials. And well, cinema is very difficult. So, you know, trying to write a script, trying to get that made, that's a whole other ball game. But documentary, depending on the topic and depending on the level at which you're trying to produce it, is something that you can even do with like 2 or 3 people. It's very, very easy in comparison to any kind of like movie work. So I sat down and I created a few ideas for documentaries, and I decided to just keep it simple and just do something I know very well, and that is gaming. And I decided to make a documentary about the gamers of Turkey. So Turkey is a huge country compared to most other countries, has a massive population, and especially over the last few years, its gaming population has increased like exponentially. There are absolutely millions and millions and millions of kids and adults alike gaming on the regular. And I realized that these guys don't have a documentary that tells their story. So there's a lot of people in Turkey that don't really understand gaming. You know, there's a generational gap. You know, most of the people like over 30, over 40, they're like, you know, it's just nonsense really. So I wanted to tell the story of the gamers of Turkey, and how I'm going to do this is by breaking it up into 3 sections. I want to shoot a documentary that's like 45 minutes or so. The first part is going to be more about like the history of video games in Turkey. You know, how did they come about? How did they come into the Turkish lifestyle? Tell a little bit of the story of that. Then I'm going to move on to like the passion of video games, people that truly love video games, that have played them all their lives, spend a lot of time playing them. Why do they love video games so much? You know, try and explain this side of the story. And then I'm going to tell the story of YouTubing and LPers and all this kind of stuff, because the amount of people, even among the youth, that I've had to explain that I do this LPing stuff, this commentary stuff for video games, and I earn a living from it. People are just absolutely fascinated by that whole idea, and I thought this would be a good thing to explain as a documentary. So I've got in contact with some of Turkey's biggest LPers, and they've been kind enough to say, yeah, we'll be a part of this. So part of the documentary is going to tell the story of LPers. These young kids are like 20, 22, 23 that are making serious money just playing video games and entertaining millions of young people around Turkey. Well, not around the globe, because, you know, Turkish commentary is much more Turkish specific, but all over the nation. So that's going to be one part of the story, something that obviously I know very well. And the final thing is going to be esports. So Turkey has started to get into the esports scene as well. We have some decent teams for stuff like League of Legends, from what I know, Counter-Strike Go and all that kind of stuff. And there's a few very big clubs, like sporting clubs, that have introduced esports as like a branch of their sporting club. So what I mean is, if you guys follow any football, then you will know of a team called Beşiktaş, or Besiktas as it's known in the West. And these guys are one of the biggest football teams in Turkey. And in 2015, they opened up a esports department. They were the first like big team to do so. And I got in touch with these guys as well to ask them, like, I'm making a documentary, will you guys allow me to film like the whole, you know, esports scene? And they were like, yeah, you know, we're on board, let's meet. So next week I've got a meeting with this like Turkey's biggest esports group, and I've also got a meeting with Turkey's biggest video game magazine as well. It's called Level. Going to meet with those guys and going to try and, you know, really get this project rolling. So I thought I'd let you guys know because it's something exciting, and it's something that I'll be sharing once I'm done. I'm going to try and air it through YouTube, because TV is very difficult to get into and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to air it on YouTube, and I'll let you guys know. I'll try to shoot some stuff from behind the scenes. I'll make a hangout video all about the process, and, you know, hopefully keep you guys in loop about it as well, because it's something that I think you guys will be interested in watching as well. I'll be writing English subtitles for it as well, so it's something that you guys can watch and enjoy as well, hopefully, once it's done. So yeah, depending on how that documentary project goes, if we really start kind of motoring on with that, it might eat into my YouTube time, so it might restrict my uploads a little bit. But just know that if my uploads do slow down, it's probably going to be because of something like that. So yeah, that is the deal. Lots of stuff happening. YouTube, I will be giving all of my free time to it, because I did a lot of socializing over the summer, a lot of like Pokemon Go and all that shit. Pokemon Go, I've kind of gone on a hiatus now, got to like level 22, 23, and my friends started to kind of get a bit bored of it as well. So Pokemon Go is kind of on the shelf for me, because that was something that I was doing a lot in my free time, like meeting up with my friends, going out, catching Pokemon, chilling, whatever. But now I'm focused, going to be giving everything to, outside of obviously my day job, but giving everything to YouTube and to Twitch and to all that kind of stuff. So lots more to come from me. Keep following, whether it be through Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, and I'll be hitting you guys with more stuff in the future. Thanks for watching. Take care.